Hi, my name is Raquel. RGO Originals or RG Originals on Ravelry and on Facebook. I'll link everything below. Welcome to my podcast. Thank you to all new and returning viewers. Thank you for everyone who leaves comments on YouTube, on Facebook, on the Ravelry group. If you're not a member, come join us. I'll be hosting a giveaway shortly. Haven't quite figured out everything just yet, but I'm working on it. So if you want to win some yarn and maybe a project bag, who knows, join the Ravelry group. Okay, I obviously cannot be knitting and talking at the same time, unlike yesterday during the knitting group where I did just that, but I didn't have to be focusing on any camera or anything, and I could occasionally look down at my work. I'm just gonna do this decrease and then I'm gonna stop. Okay, so it's Sunday the 24th of April. It's roughly 3:20 in the afternoon. I usually film in the morning, but last week I filmed the podcast in the afternoon and I noticed I had better lighting, so I decided to film again today in the afternoon, see if it really is better lighting than in the morning. I think mainly the lighting is better because I don't have the sun reflecting off the white building across the street. The sun will be in about an hour, hour and a half, it will be shining directly into my living room. So this will probably be the new time for me to film from now on. We'll see how it goes in the summer, when at this time of the afternoon I already have sunlight streaming into my living dining area. So yeah, it's an extremely sunny day today. Yesterday was also fantastic weather. It was supposed to rain. There were lots of clouds. I did take a rain coat with me just in case, because I spent the whole day downtown Porto, hanging out with my friends at the yarn store, and then had knitting. I joined my knitting group in the afternoon at our usual spot. My two dogs are lying next to me, enjoying the sun, which they're catching the first couple of rays coming into my living room, in my dining area at the moment. They were at my parents' place yesterday, so they are completely tired out. They must have done a lot of running around with the other two dogs, as my parents have a nice big property, nice big lawn where they can run and everything, so they're both completely tired. They're fast asleep. They don't even want to move. I took them for a short walk. Actually, I was going to take them for a nice long walk, but they didn't want to. They just went for, it's like, got to a certain point, they're like, okay, let's go back. Didn't want to. Okay, but you're here for the knitting, or not, whatever. So I do have one finished object, which is the shawl I showed you last week that was almost finished. I haven't sewn in any ends because I've literally just taken this off the blocking mats just before my parents came to drop off the dogs. Because this thing is so huge. Okay, I usually block my pieces like on those foam blocking mats, and if they're not too big I can put them on top of my dining room table because I have the blinds open the whole day, and this is the best place to block them, block my finished pieces, because it gets the sun and it gets the heat of the sun. This whole apartment is like a furnace in the summer, and in the winter it's not too bad. It doesn't get too cold because if there are sunny days it does warm up a bit. But This shawl is so long, and I didn't measure it. I forgot to measure it. It didn't fit on my dining room table. I had to block it on the floor. And so it was a good thing the dogs weren't around, because I know my dogs, and they're gonna go, at least Dakota, she'll just lie on the piece, whether it's wet or not, she doesn't care. Or if, while I'm blocking it, she'll just stand there and watch me block it, and I'll ask her to move, and I'll literally have to push her off because she'll just stand there. So this is the shawl. I tested it for Lee Meredith. It's the custom triang, and I knit it all in Malabrigo sock yarn in 3 colorways, and I knit it on 5.5 millimeters, which I believe is a US 9. So this is like I said, it's the custom triang. Lee has 4 other triang patterns out, and each pattern has 3 sections. So there's endless possibilities with this, with these shawls. I used the lace section here. That's from the that's TWOU pattern, and then I was gonna use it for the 3rd section, which is this section here, but I decided to not do that. So after I finished the lace section, I went on to the 2nd section here, which is the striped section, which is the garter. I continued with the color I used here and striped it with another color. This color here in the lace is, like I said, it's all Malabrigo sock yarn. This is the solace. Then I added in the alcohol seal, which is like this. It's not black. It's like a dark green, gray. It's a gorgeous color, really. And I'll show you, maybe next week I'll show you the cardigan I actually knit out of this yarn. And then this 3rd section here is in the Persia colorway, and it starts off with very little stitches, and you go and you start increasing. And I was gonna stripe it as well, but I was running low on the alcohol seal, and I thought, no, I'll just join in the Persia and I'll knit the whole thing in Persia. So this is, and like I said, I haven't woven in any ends because I've just taken it off the blocking mat. So this is the one end, and there it goes. It gets larger, keep increasing, adding more stitches, and adding more stitches, and then at one point here, where you finish with all the stitches you had on your needle, you just carry on and on and on, and rest these off because there's someone in the hallway. Sorry. So yeah, this is like maybe twice the length of my wingspan. Let's see. Okay, shorter, but it's pretty much twice the length of my wingspan. So I haven't even put this on yet. Let's see. I can put this on like twice, 3 times maybe around my neck. So if I do this, this is how I usually wear my shawls, but okay. Long tails, so I could easily move it around a bit more to have a shorter one, and then flip this one to the back. It depends. I mean, okay, I'm not going to wear it now because it is warm. So, finished. Just have to sew in the ends, and then it'll be truly finished. Because I finished this shawl, I said I was going to try complete the... So that was all the finished objects I have for this week. I have no other finished objects, so we're going to go straight into works in progress. Because I finished one shawl, I said, well, I'm allowed to cast on another shawl. And I showed you last week the sweater I knit for the Ovelha Negra double knit-along, which is the romping around sweater by La Maison Rilili. And then the shawl, which I hadn't initially signed up for, but I've signed up for it now, was going to be the Jujui by Joji Locatelli. And I was going to use the leftover yarn I had from the sweater I knit. So, after podcasting, after all the editing and all that, while I was uploading, I cast on. And there's some striping in the pattern. I don't have it here, sorry. There's some striping going on in the pattern, but I decided to just do it all in color blocks because I wanted to use as much of the yarn that I had left over because I wasn't sure it was going to be enough for the whole shawl. But it looks like it will be enough, and I probably won't even get to use one of the colors. So, started cast on, and I started with the robin's egg, and I managed to do the first garter stitch section and the first mesh section. I literally have, let's see if I have it here. Yeah, I do. This is what I have left. It's like less than a gram, or maybe just 1 gram. This is what I have left from the robin's egg. Then I joined in the Kingfisher colorway, which is this nice blue. And these two I used for my sleeve in the sweater. And this is what I have left from there. Didn't have enough to carry on in the lace section. So I did do the whole garter in this color, and then I was like, well, you know what? I'm just going to continue and start the lace here, the mesh, and I'll just add in the next color. And you can't even see any transit. This is the front that I'm showing you. See, there. And I'll show you the back. You can't even see any transition. So, you know how in the garter, let's see if you can see like this here, where you can see the two yarns. You can't notice it at all in the mesh area. It's just a very straight line, and I don't care. I like it. So I've just finished the second. Wait, I'm all tangled up now. I've just finished the second lace section, and this is how much I still have left. So I'm going to be able to, I've already done one row, I just need to do one more row. This is already the third and final section of the shawl. So I'm going to do the return row, and then I'm going to add in the fourth color, which is going to be this one. Here is the Harbor colorway, and then this here is the denim colorway. So I'm going to add in the denim, and I'll add in the denim, and I'll see if I have enough to make one more row, so 2 rows basically, one more garter ridge out of the Harbor. Otherwise I'll just cut it and I'll continue in the denim. And I really do want to add in the black currant, which was the shoulder section. The Harbor and the denim, so these two together, that was my main body section of the sweater. And this was the shoulder section, which is purple, and it's like a heather. It's not quite, it's a bit more purple than what's showing up on the screen. I really do want to add in a bit of this in the shawl, so I might see how many rows I have to do in the garter section, and then do maybe a bit of striping with these two together, and then do the picot bind off in this color. So I'm not going to need my swatch at all, which I had just in case I needed to add it. I'm knitting these on, and there is my yarn. Sorry. I'm knitting these on my 4mm Knit Pro Novas interchangeable set. I had to buy these the 4 millimeters because the wooden ones, the Symphony, they broke. So I bought this is a needle size I use a lot. So this is at the time I wanted to get the Symphonies again, but Joanna didn't have them at the time at the shop. So I ended up getting the Novas, which I don't mind. I like the metal needles. I changed to a smaller knitting bag because I was preparing a sweater that I'm going to be knitting for as a present. So I needed the bigger project bag. And as you can see, I mean, this is all folded up. It fits in here fine. It's in here, still quite a lot of space. And it's just like leftover fabric I had from another bag I made. So it's a bit smaller than my the usual size bag I make. So that was finished object, and I have until the 30th of April to complete the shawl. And tomorrow, it's a public holiday here in Portugal. So I'm hoping to get the shawl finished and off the needles tomorrow so I can lay it out to block. And again, I'm gonna have to block this in the hallway because I don't think my dining room table is gonna be big enough to block this. So I'm gonna have to do some creative thinking here. I'm gonna try it out on my dining room table, see if it fits. Because this is not gonna be stretched long ways, it's gonna be kind of a circular construction. I don't think this is definitely not gonna block out straight. So I'm hoping it'll fit on my dining room table, because otherwise I'm gonna have to keep the door to the living dining area closed, because I'll have 2 little dogs, or at least one dog, Mr. Rusty, who likes to lie on my knitted items, whether they're wet or not. Actually, in the summer he actually prefers them to be wet, because then, you know, he can be fresh. Other works in progress is the blanket, and okay, I started a row, so that's not really handy to show off, but okay. Last week I showed you I had 1 garter ridge of the yellow. I did all this yesterday in my knit group. As you can see, it's not a lot. The rows are long, and like I said, I was chatting, I took photos. I might add a couple here at the end of things that we were knitting, or that the other people were knitting on. I basically just knit on this. Yeah, I really want to get this finished now, so after I finish the shawl, I'm going to be working on this blanket. I had planned on knitting another pair of socks for Katie's knit along, the Harry Potter knit along on Inside Number 23 podcast, but I don't think I will be able to. I need to finish the shawl first. That's because I need to block it, and I need to have photos of it by the 30th of April on the Ravelry group, and I want to finish the shawl, the blanket, because my friend is due in a couple of weeks' time, and it's not a big deal if, you know, if the baby is born before I finish the blanket, but I don't want to send it too much after the birth. I want her to have it as soon as possible, and it still has to do a bit of traveling. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be focusing on. So hopefully next week this blanket will be a finished object. Then what I did do last week was swatch for the Natsumi sweater, and I swatched, and here is my swatch. I like the fabric I got. I didn't use the recommended needle sizes because I started to, but I didn't like the fabric. It was way too tight, and I like the looser fabric. So I'm going to just take my measurements off this swatch. It's not quite the right gauge, but I'll just work with it. Again, I knit these on 4mm, and these are on my, because I did start it, but I'm going to have to rip this back because I forgot to do increases. These are on my 4mm Addy Clicks interchangeable set. So yeah, that's the beginning. I'm not doing the sweater as written. I'm doing the top section, so the shoulder section with the cables. I'm doing that from as written. I'm just doing the body section because I don't know if I have enough yarn to complete the whole sweater for the size I want to knit. So I'm going to then pick up stitches along this piece that I'll be making from one end to the other, and knitting the body downwards. That way I can do the body first, and whatever I have left, when I'm happy with the length of the sweater, I can then do the sleeves. I'll use whatever is left over to do the sleeves, and if it's going to be just very short sleeves, it doesn't bother me. I don't mind. I thought this yarn looks like it easily breaks, but I've been knitting on it Portuguese style, like I always knit, and I have no problems with it whatsoever. I will have to be careful ripping this back. I'll do it carefully. I'm going to rip back right to the beginning and just restart the whole thing. So yeah, that's what I've been working on. Not a lot. I was pretty busy at work this week, so didn't have a lot of knitting time. And 2 dogs, I still have to walk them, make dinner, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, less knitting time this week. Hopefully this week it's a shorter week. I can leave earlier maybe if there's not too much work, and that means more knitting time for me. So yeah, what I like to do while I'm knitting, if I'm not watching movies, I like to watch podcasts, and I have several podcasts. I actually created a thread on the Ravelry group for you guys to just name the podcasts you watch. Maybe it's a podcast that's not known to me. I might want to check it out, and I'll do the same. I haven't gotten around to it yet. I started the thread last week, but then, like I said, it's been busy at work, and when I come home, I don't really feel like switching on the computer. And I switch on the computer, but I end up watching podcasts instead of going on the forums. And I do read all the messages I get. Might not respond straight away. But yeah, I do read all the messages everyone sends. So yeah, I will be adding the list of podcasts I watch. But since Friday, sorry, I keep looking over there because I left my tea there, but that's okay. I don't drink warm tea. I like my tea cold, so it's fine. It's over there. And I have a glass of water over here if I need to drink anything. So. Also, Rusty was over there for a second, and now he's back over here. They keep moving around. So yeah, what was I saying? Podcasts, right. So, nothing on TV on Friday evening, so I watched whatever podcasts I still had to watch that had come out this week that I hadn't gotten around to watching. And then, yesterday evening and this morning, I was binge watching The Grocery Girls, which is Jodie and Tracy, and they're in Canada. I forget which side of Canada, but I believe it's Edmonton. Not quite sure. But yeah, they're just fun to watch. They're two sisters. They work in a grocery store. They have other. I believe Tracy also works in a yarn store, which is River Yarns. I'm not sure of the name. I'll have to check. You'd think that, binge watching, I would know, but I didn't write them down. So, yeah, they're just hilarious to watch. The last episode 7 and episode 8 were just hilarious. Yeah, they got the giggles and they couldn't stop laughing, and I was laughing right along with them. Hilarious. So I binge watched been watching them. I have 2 more episodes left to watch to be up to date with them. Then there's 2 podcasts I really enjoy watching, mainly because I lived in South Africa, and these 2 ladies are both from South Africa. One of them lives in the same area that I used to live in, and the other one lives in Cape Town. So there's the Pink Hair Girl podcast, and that's Sally Jane, and she podcasts with her daughter Rachel. I just love watching it. I love listening to the South African accent. I love the whole podcast. The videos she shows when she's talking about South Africa, the local yarns she has there. Sally Jane is a fantastic designer as well. I bought her book, which is Mzansi Africa on My Needles. I have tested it for her, the Phoenix hat, which she designed for Rachel. Rachel was part of some program. I'm not sure. You're gonna have to watch or check the blog or the Ravelry group. She was part of a program, and she had to do some sort of charity event, and she decided to sponsor the burn unit of the Red Cross hospital in Cape Town. And this is a burn unit for I believe it's for children. And what Rachel wanted was, like a lot of people, knitting hats for the kids who are there, and or washcloths to help with, for the parents that come and stay with them to wash. And so the Sally Jane created the Phoenix hat, which I tested it for her, and I need to knit myself a version of that hat. I knit one for the daughter of a friend of mine last year. Actually, the test knit came at the right time because I needed a gift to gift this friend's daughter. So I knitted in her favorite color, which was yellow. And yeah, all proceeds of the Phoenix hat go towards this charity to buy the little kits that they put together. And now I believe the burnt unit has just recently acquired, or will be acquiring, a new machine, which I believe it's laser, to remove some of the scarring from the burns. And so if you can't send hats or washcloths, buy the pattern or gift it to someone. Every little bit helps, it's a good thing that they're doing. So yeah, that's Sally Jane and her daughter Rachel. The Pink Hair Girl podcast, check it out. Great, hilarious. I love the little dog, which is a Yorkie mix. Pippin, gorgeous little dog, and I love it when he shows up on the podcast. And if I'm watching and Rusty's on my lap, he comes running and he's like in the screen covering my view because Rusty wants to say hello to Pippin. So hi Sally Jane, hi Rachel. I really enjoy your podcast. Another one is, like I said, another South African, is Sally, and she's Wool Diaries. she has a group on Ravelry, and her podcast cracks me up as well. Hilarious. This woman is hilarious. Seriously. And sorry. She really has that South African accent I love, that I used to have, that I'm kind of bummed I don't have anymore, but you know, hey, I'm sure if I go back there one of these days, I'll pick up a couple of things again. And she's in the Johannesburg area. Sorry, I keep saying Joburg because that's something the locals do. It's Johannesburg. Sorry. She has a couple of dogs as well, and she showed one of them the other day, and I'm sorry, Sally, but I forgot the name of the dog, but it was a cute little Chihuahua mix, I think. Rusty wasn't there with me that day, so I believe I watched the latest episode on Friday. But otherwise, Rusty would have, again, been in the screen, covering my view, because anytime there's any dogs or cats or any animals on my computer screen, he wants to lick the screens. His way of saying hello to the animals, I guess. I don't know. So yeah. So those are the podcasts I've been watching. There's a whole bunch more that I watch, but those are the ones I watched recently. And I'll be as soon as I finish filming here, I'll seeing as these two dogs of mine are completely dead to the world here, I should really try to take a photo and show you, but they each have a pillow to lie on. My mom made these like big pillows to put on the floor so they could just lie on them, and they love them. That's where they spend the summer if they're here at the house. Obviously they'd much rather be outside, but I have a very crappy little balcony. I mean, I can't even put a chair out there and sit out there myself. It's like less than half a meter in width, so really I can't sit out on my balcony, which is a bummer, because in the summer it'd be nice to open up the windows and sit outside. I do open up the windows in the summer, and usually it's like Dakota is lying inside on the pillow, and then she has her head outside to, I guess, catch the sun better. I don't know. It's, yeah. Rusty doesn't go outside much. He prefers to stay on the inside on the pillows. So yeah, that's it for this week, I think. Nothing more to show. I didn't buy any more yarn. Okay, so I guess after I finish my shawl and after I finish this blanket, I'm going to be casting on 2 sweaters. Maybe 3. I know, crazy, right? The Natsumi, but that one's for me, so I'll just knit on that one, like, at my own pace. I don't need to have that finished for any knit along or any deadline or anything. Then I do have another sweater that I'm going to be knitting for as a gift, and that does have a deadline. I still need to wind the yarn for that, so I'll be doing that next week when I go over, probably going over to my parents' place again. So next week the podcast will probably be at my parents' place again, and if it's nice weather, I'll try film outside on the terrace in the morning, so that should give some completely different views than this thing. I believe it's called a hutch in English. In Portuguese it's a louceiro, and I have it full of bits and pieces that I've collected over the years. So yeah, I'll be taking the yarn I'm going to be using for that sweater with me to my parents' place so I can wind it there. The reason for that, I usually wind yarn into cakes at my parents' place because all the tables I have, they don't have straight edges, so I can't really clamp the Swift or the ball winder on the tables. They keep falling off. It doesn't, they all have curved edges. And my parents have several, they have one table which they use as a side table that does have a straight edge, and then they have the tables that they use outside in the summer, and those are all straight edged as well, so I can use them for winding yarn, and that's why I usually do it at my parents' place. If I do it here at home, then I can usually just put the Swift on the dining room table, attach it to the dining room table, and then I wind it by hand, because then I don't I guess I don't pull as hard, or it doesn't, the movements it unwinds slower, I guess, than if I'm using the ball winder, so it doesn't fall off as easily. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing over this week. So I'm going to work on the shawl, try to get that finished, work on this blanket, get that finished. If I manage to finish the shawl today, I might cast on that other pair of socks that I wanted to knit for the knit along, which also finishes on the 30th of April. So like I said, I don't know if I'm going to be able to make the deadline, but we'll see. We'll give it a go. And yeah, hopefully next week I'll have started the other sweater. Might have a shawl to show you. I will have a finished shawl to show you. Might have made a bit more progress on this blanket. Who knows, I might have a pair of socks. And I'll have the yarn all caked up that I'll be using for the sweater. Yeah, and that's it. And I'll have 4 dogs running around at the time, because I'll be at my parents' place and they have their 2 dogs. And if we're outside, if it's nice weather, I'm saying I'm going to film outside, but that depends on the weather, of course. If it's nice weather, like this weekend, then they all want to be outside on the terrace. So yeah. And I think, yeah, that's it for today. I'm done. I have a lot more knitting I want to get done. I need to edit this podcast. I need to take some more photos as well. I'll add in some photos at the end of me wearing the sweater yesterday, because when I was at the Ovelha Negra in Porto, I was wearing a different sweater when I got there, and then I was asked to put on my sweater as I had taken it along to show off. So I wore that basically the whole morning, and I took some photos of myself. I asked Joanna to take some photos of me, so that I'm not constantly, same photos of me holding the camera, trying to take photos of the thing. I used her mannequin to take some photos, so I'll add in some photos at the end. And I believe I took a photo of my shawl and her shawl, because she's knitting the same shawl, the Jujoy. And then maybe I'll add in some photos of my afternoon with the knitting group. And yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. I'll try to get on, as tomorrow is a free public holiday and I don't have to go work. I'll try get onto Ravelry and list the podcasts I watch, and I hope you guys do the same. Like I said, join the group. There's not much chatter going on at the moment, but you're all welcome. Post in whatever language is more comfortable for you. I'll try respond I will respond in English, Portuguese, or Dutch. German and French and Spanish. And again, there's movement in the hallway, and Rusty's gone to alert me. Yeah, so English, Dutch, and Portuguese. I'll respond in time. Sorry. Other languages I'll try, but I can't guarantee. But yeah, join the group. Like I said, I'll be hosting a giveaway shortly. Probably not next week, but the weekend after, so the week after, which will be the 10th episode, and that'll give me some time to go talk to Joanna, who's very kindly offering the yarn that I'll be giving away. Yeah, so have a great week, and I'll see you next week. Bye.